Hello and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So today we are taking a look at the Ogryn again, and we're trying out a new heavy attack build with a slightly different pick. So we're using the Borovian Pickaxe this time, and we're going with this one because it's got a slightly different attack pattern, which is more directed to strike downs, and it's going to help us deal with elites and all the armor. As the Carsolus is a really fun pickaxe, it is my favourite out of all of them, but it is more tuned towards big sweeps and horde clearing. So that's why we're using this one today. So what we're looking at, first of all, the modifiers. You kind of want them something like this. Damage, first target, penetration, cleave, defense, in that order. Damage and first target are very important, and so is penetration, then cleave, and defense is basically your dump stat. Perk-wise, what you're looking for is Flak and Maniac, as they are the most prominent modifiers. I say modifiers, enemies in the game. And blessing-wise, we're going with Slaughterer and Thrust. So Head Taker is easier to keep stacked up because it's on hit, whereas Slaughterer is on kill. But as you're progressing through difficulties, you're not going to see much of a difference, to be honest. Slaughterer is going to be up the entire time that you're cleaving through and wading through fights. And Thrust is here to help us deal with mixed hordes, so that we can deal with Ragers, Maulers, Bulwarks, Crushers, etc., etc. And as for our ranged option, as you can see, we're still using the trusty kickback with Flak and Maniac. And blessings-wise, the only one that is completely mandatory is Surgical. Full bore, I just use because you occasionally can take advantage of it, but it is only 5 seconds when dumping your shot into a single target. But it's up to you what you want to use for the secondary blessing on that. There are a few others you can choose, like Terrifying Barrage, Blaze Away, even though Blaze Away is quite annoying to keep stacked up on the gun. You kind of have to spec into reload speed and all that kind of rubbish to get it to work properly, but no. It's whatever you really want, just don't put run and gun on it. Anything but run and gun. But it's not completely necessary to use only the kickback on this. If you want to, you can use any ranged weapon you want. You can use the Grenade Gauntlet with pinpoint targeting. Glory Hunter's a good secondary blessing, but again, put whatever you want on for the second one. Pinpointing target is the only mandatory one on the Grenade Gauntlet, or you can go with like a Faux Render Ripper Gun, and with that you want Can Opener, Fire Frenzy, or Blaze Away. Quite good options. Or you can go for Inspiring Barrage if you want a bit of toughness generation. Speaking of toughness, we've changed all of the curios. They are now all toughness curios, as we're trying to take advantage of all of the toughness and toughness damage reduction in the tree. So as you can see here, we've gone for resist on snipers, gunners, and more toughness. And then the next two are resist gunners, toughness, regeneration, speed, more toughness. And these are both exactly the same. You can drop the damage resistant snipers if you want to and go for 3 toughness regeneration speeds, which give you a 90% regeneration speed, which is pretty damn good. But you are opening yourself up to very, very damaging shots from snipers. But it's personal choice, really. I prefer having a little bit of resist just to try and shrug it off a bit. But if you want to, you can just switch out for the regeneration speed. So as I said, we are building towards toughness in this build, and we're going to try and take advantage of as many of these toughness nodes and toughness damage reduction. So we're running about 20% damage reduction in this build and a hell of a lot of toughness. So let's go through the build. Furious, the best defense. Smash 'em, heavyweight, linchpin, and into frag bomb. So this is pretty standard up here for any melee build. We're ignoring these two. Then we're going to soften them up. The sad thing is, you can go for the big friendly rock. It's just slam is pretty rubbish, to be honest. It's not great. Whereas soften them up is a much better node for us to take, as it puts a 15% damage increase on anything that you hit. And then, of course, we're grabbing the toughness damage reduction node in the middle into Indomitable, grabbing Stomping Boots, and then Trample. So I've been playing around with both Trample and Pulverize, and Trample just gives such a huge damage boost if you can get it off properly, which is basically just run through the biggest pile of enemies you can find, and you will be running at a 50% damage increase, well, damage buff to yourself for 8 seconds, which is a pretty big buff. And then we're going to come down here into Batter, inflict 4 stacks of bleed on heavy melee hit. It's a staple of the build. We aren't taking Crunch because it works with the Branks, because you're holding it back and doing such a large amount of damage with it. You are being able to drop crushers, but with the Borovian, or the Borovian, sorry, people are going to get annoyed about that. Bovine, I'm just going to carry on calling it the Bovine, to be honest. With the Bovine, the damage isn't quite high enough to get that single hit, even with Crunch, and it's leaving you open so much because you have to hold the heavy attack basically until the animation is just finished anyway and it auto launches. Which by that I mean is you hold down and it does it anyway without you letting it go, and that is how long you have to hold it for Crunch to actually toggle. And it just leaves you open to massive amounts of chip damage. So we're ignoring Crunch, which is a shame because it's a 40% damage bonus. And then we're going into heavy melee damage here, Bonebreaker's Aura for more melee damage. And then we're going to be coming across here. So here, you guys have a choice. You can either go for Attention Seeker into Payback Time, or you can go Get Stuck In into Bruiser. Attention Seeker and Payback Time are just pure damage boosts. Well, I say Payback Time is a pure damage boost. Attention Seeker is just there to help the team. Whereas Get Stuck In and Bruiser are, I would say, not damage boost straight away, but they lead to more damage, because obviously you get the cooldown reduction, which means you can do Indomitable more, which means it procs Trample more. But it's kind of up to you. I prefer going for Payback Time, but if you prefer Get Stuck In and Bruiser, it's completely fine. It works both ways. And then we're grabbing this node over here for Toughness damage reduction, which is helping with our massive stacking of toughness. And then coming down here into Delight and Destruction, Dominate, Implacable, and then grabbing Heavy Hitter and the 2 nodes to either side. We're not taking Brutish Momentum because we don't really need it, to be honest. We are like switching between Heavy 1 to Light 2 to get the cleaves and all that, but most of our attacks are going to be heavies. So we don't need to waste a point here. But that is how the build is shaping up. And with this, as I said, we're running about 20% toughness damage reduction and a hell of a lot more toughness. I have it written down here somewhere with how much toughness we're actually running. An extra 80 toughness through these nodes, 10% health. So it's quite defensive, but it's also really stacking up that damage. So with the Bovine, as I said, it's heavy 1 into light, if I didn't just mess it up. So heavy into light, and you get that big cleave. There are a few other combos you can do with it, but I always forget what the hell they are, so I'll just put them in the description under the video. But you need to remember the special attack, which is to basically grab them, it staggers them, it puts a secret 10% extra damage done. Every time you do this, it debuffs them to take 10% more damage from you. So do not forget to do that. It is amazing. And basically anything in armor you want to hook forward and hit in the face. Just make sure to hold it until you get those 3 stacks of thrust. God damn you, Bulwark. There we go. So yeah, just hold it to get 3 stacks of thrust, and away you go. But it is very annoying that it's not actually written anywhere that when you do this, you have now debuffed them to take 10% more damage from you for about 8 seconds. I think it's 8 seconds. It's either 8 or 6. I don't remember. I know it happens. And it's a very, very, very powerful way of using the pickaxes. The Branks doesn't get that. It gets it. It gets a jab. But the Carsolus and the Bovine both get the pull, which staggers them, debuffs them, and allows you to smack them in the face. It's a lovely little move. And the last thing I want to mention is, obviously, don't forget about your grenade. It's very easy to think, oh, I want to save this. But don't forget to use it, because this is basically a wave reset. If things are looking sketchy, people are starting to get battered, use it, clear the wave, and it's basically a reset for you and the entire team to gather yourselves for a few seconds and then carry on. It is a very, very powerful grenade. Just don't forget to use it. Don't hold on to it thinking, oh, maybe later, maybe later. No, just use it when you think you need it. You do miss the big friendly rock, though. I love the big friendly rock. But there you go, folks. That is the slightly updated build. I hope you have as much fun with it as I do. And if you do, please like, subscribe, ring that little bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And I shall see you all for the next one. So until then, take it easy. See you later.